welcome to my shop. My name is Tracy Maxfield and this is Hammer Down Woodworking. Today I'm going to be covering some of the things that I know. I'm not the smartest person when it comes to spraying. I used to use, and still do some, the siphon fed sprayers on the air compressor, and those work good, but they don't work, to me, they don't work as good as this system here. This is the Fuji Semi-pro 2. And what I'm going to cover today, I know when I went to researching and watching YouTube videos and reading about it and everything, I had a lot of questions that I wasn't being given in some of those videos and just did not have the time to research everything. I wanted to know all I could know about it and operate it. I didn't have to know, you know how a microwave works, or you know how to operate it, but you don't necessarily know how it works. I didn't need to be that in depth with this system. But I do know how to spray, and I did want to know how to hook this up, what all I needed, did everything that I need come with the kit, and questions like that. What does what? So that's what I'm going to cover today and show you in this video. And I will tell you that you do get everything in this kit that you will need for basic work. With the sprayer, you will get 2 tips, and you can buy more if you want those, I'm sure. I have a 1.8 and a 1.3 came with it. I use the 1.3 whenever I'm spraying real thin, watered down, like lacquers and spar urethane, stuff like that. Spar urethane actually sprays very, very well out of this gun. This is a gravity fed, and it's also pressure fed. It has the adjustments on the back. This adjustment here is going to set the amount of air, or the amount of spray that actually comes out the end of the gun. If you tighten this down, you start losing trigger pull, and that's how it adjusts. And what I do with mine, before I spray any paint or anything, I will just put some water in it. And I have a concrete floor in my shop, and I will just spray, set my pattern close to what I want, the amount of feed that I want. And granted, this is water. When you put your paint in it, you will have to readjust to set it for the thickness and consistency of whatever you're spraying. But if you use water, you can set your fan. You don't have to clean this out afterward. Just drain it out and go with it, because, well, with this paint anyway, because I'm going to be spraying chalk paint with this thing today, and you mix the chalk paint down with water anyway to get it thin. So if you want to spray lacquer thinner through it, if you're going to be spraying some lacquer or something of that nature, you can do that and set your fan and everything, get it close to what you want before you even start. But anyway, this right here sets the amount of trigger pull that you have, which allows that much amount of your paint, thinner or lacquer or whatever you're spraying out of it. This button right here, and I'll hook this up and show you in a minute. This one right here sets your fan. When you spray, depending upon which way you set this, it will come out narrow, or you can adjust this and make it come out wider as it's coming out the tip of the gun. That's pretty well the adjustments you have on here. On your air line, which we'll cover that in a minute, it does have an airflow. You can restrict the airflow coming through the tube into the gun if you choose, if you need that back down some. Oh yeah, your tip, your fan on your tip, if you've got it set sideways like this, you have air blowing out each side, which in turns makes your spray this way. If you turn this, loosen this up, and turn it like this, then your spray is like this, depending upon if you're spraying vertical or horizontal, which way you would want to run that tip. Now, this is your turbine, and I don't recommend this. As you can see, I did get a little finish on this because this gun popped off of that. But that's what that's for. That is to hold your gun. But when you've got the hose hooked to it, that was an idea. It wasn't even a good idea, but that was just an idea. Fix you something else to hang yours on. I haven't done that yet. I need to practice what I'm preaching, but I haven't done that yet. But that is what this right here is for. The turbine, your hose, which I'll show you that in a minute, it hooks up right here. And when you're running this thing, don't reach down and get a hold of this, because it can get hot. You have your filters on each end of it, And when you set your turbine, set it down low on the floor, and you've got, I think it's something like 25 feet of hose with this. Set your turbine back away from where you're working. Just give yourself just enough hose to reach it, because that will draw, as you can see, I've got some overspray into that, and it will draw that into that. And I don't know what the results of that will be later on, but that will probably mess that up. Here's your on and off for it. This is where your plug goes into it. And I don't really know what that switch, it's your amperage. It's a kick on it. Anyway, that's the turbine, and that thing is small, but actually it produces a lot of air force. Of course, if you keep getting overspray and stuff into the filters on it, you're going to end up start losing air force. And this right here is your hose. And I know that big like a water hose, and you might feel like that is just too large to be comfortable with, but it's kind of light. If you're trying to pull a lot of it up off the floor, you can gain some weight with it. So be choosy about where you put your stuff. If you're, which I do that all the time in here when I'm spraying some things, I hang them from the rafters in here, and I'm pulling quite a bit of cord up off the floor. Just be mindful of that. Get your stuff, if you hang it, get it from a comfortable height, so that you're not pulling so much of this off the floor, causing it to get heavier. Because when you're spraying, I know a lot of the videos, it looks like people are spraying real fast and it's just going on so smooth and stuff, but it's actually a slow rate of spraying in most cases, unless you're spraying something like polyurethane or something that just goes on and melts so well on it. But when you're spraying paint, it's kind of a lot slower. It's not sped up for the sake of saving video time, but still getting the application in. So be conscientious about where you hang your stuff, where you set your stuff, what you can get to, what you can't get to. That way you're not pulling so much of this hose off the floor. But this end, it just twists onto the turbine. And all you want to do is just get that hand tight. It'll be fine. Don't put no wrenches on that and really crank down on that. You don't want to do that, because this gets hot and you may not be able to get that back loose without breaking something. So my suggestion is hand tight, set this away to where you're not moving it, and it's not going to come undone when it can't get any movement to that end of it. The other end of the hose, which I think there's something like 25, there may be 30 feet, but I think it's 25. The other end of the hose has this valve on it, and this is what I was talking about a minute ago, closing off and opening up the airflow. You'll want to open that up, start your spray, and if you need to back that off as you turn that around, you're restricting the airflow with HVLP. Just start slowly adjusting it till you get it to where you want it. Actually, on everything that I have sprayed so far, I adjust it on the gun and I leave this wide open. And hook that on the gun, you just pull this black ring back and it locks on and you're good to go. Now, like I said, you do get quite a bit of weight. If you're picking this up high above your head, you do get quite a bit of weight. You can actually hold that weight up and share the weight of it between both arms. But if just be mindful of that, and it's not extremely heavy, but over the course of time of spraying a project, you can get fatigued pretty easily, because it does. The more you pull, the more weight you got. Also, when you lay those down, I would suggest bending over like I just done and easing that down. Don't just drop that on the floor, because that clip on the end of that is plastic. All right, the tip, I think I may have told you wrong a minute ago. It's been a while since I ordered this, and I don't really remember, but I'm going to put it like this. I have a 1.3 and a 1.8 with my sprayer. I think it came with the 1.3 tip, and I purchased the 1.8 when I bought the sprayer. I purchased the 1.8 to go with it, to have for spraying paint. The 1.3 works good for your lacquers and your sealants, but you'll want that 1.8 for your paint sprays. I'll show you what all comes in the box. Of course, you get the turbine and the hose. and you get the power cord for the turbine also. It's a 110. You get the sprayer, the gravity pressure fed sprayer. You get a brush to clean your tip in here out with. I'll show you how I clean mine, which this one will be easier after spraying what I'm going to spray because it's with chalk paint and it cleans up pretty easy. But if you're spraying something like a natural latex paint, you will need to purchase you a bunch of lacquer thinner. And what I do is I just keep refilling the gun, spraying it, sloshing the gun around until I get it all out, and then I'll keep spraying that till it's cleaned, completely cleaned the gun out, and then I'll take it apart and get anything in it out that's been left. But let's carry on. This is the wrench that comes with this gun, and you got different fittings for different things, and actually a screwdriver on the end of it. This thing, out of all of this gun, this system all works great. The only thing that I actually use this for is this one right here. There's an outtake. This setting right here actually fits this tip, and I use only that one to remove this tip. Everything else you can pretty much take apart by hand. If you need to take, and you will when you clean it, this little screw right in here out, get you a small wrench. I forget what size it is, it's metric, but something like maybe a 6 or an 8 millimeter, and to get that one out. It's hard to get all this in there. I think that's it right there that actually is supposed to go on that, but it don't work in there that well. You've got no room to turn it, and it's 8 is what it is that fits that, but there's no room hardly to turn that wrench. But you can buy the extra tips, and you get, when you purchase the tip, you will get the needle that is actually for that tip, and they are stamped on them. The tip itself, and you'll get the retainer and the fan for it, and it's stamped on it 1.3. So you'll know what goes together with what. The other one that's in the gun is the 1.8, and it is stamped also. You will get a strainer cup. As you can see, I don't use that. I have not used that yet. It is still in the plastic. It comes with some mesh paint strainers. I haven't used those. I don't know how well they are, can't comment on that. I've got 2 packs with mine. I don't know if I was supposed to get 2 or if I just got lucky, but I have not used those, don't know how well those work. I use these right here. You can buy a pack of 50 of these for just a few dollars, and be sure to strain your paint. You don't want any clumps or anything like that, especially when you're right in the middle of spraying. A lump go into your gun, clog your needle up, and then there you're stuck with all your chemicals or all your paint or whatever in your cup, and your gun's quit working. Then you've got to pour this out. You got to have a place to pour that out, and if you've mixed something with it, you don't want to be pouring it back into the can that it came in with your unmixed stuff, and you've got to have a place to pour that back out and then go in there and clean and get that gun cleaned out to where it will start working again. So it is a prevention step to actually strain your paint before you start. But anyway, that's what you get with the machine, and like I said, I think the tip, I may have this 1.3, I think is the one that actually came with the gun, and I ordered the 1.8, which I don't know how, if you can see that on camera or not, but that is the 1.8 that I have in here. But anyway, I'll get it hooked up and mix some paint, and then I'll show you how it sprays. We'll actually do some water on the floor first. This is just concrete floor, and I usually just set my fan on the floor. Now, as I'm doing this, course, this is just water on a concrete floor. It's not going to hurt anything, and it's going to dry pretty quick. But what I'm doing is I'm not necessarily watching what is hitting the floor, but I'm looking about 6 to 8 inches from the tip. That's about where I'm going to have it from my piece. And when you spray, you want to start off your piece, going onto it and follow all the way through and come off the other side. If you linger too long in one area, especially if it's a vertical surface, you're going to get run in it. So you want to spray on and all the way through and spray off. But watch about 8 inches or so from the tip. A couple more items you're going to need. One is a respirator for sure, and earplugs. When I'm spraying, this machine is actually kind of loud, and I'm also running a purification system and a fan to kind of help hold all this smell down. Of course, this shirt here is chalk paint. It's not as bad, but it does get loud, and you'll want some earplugs. You won't want to hear that roaring just solid. But as you can see here, I've got a highly sophisticated setup for straining. Got my filter run through some 1/4 inch rod and just braced up across the top of 2 cans over my bucket that's going to catch it, and there's a brand new liner inside of that. And I also have shut this can off camera for several minutes. And when you're sealing chalk paint back up, if you'll just take your lid back down on it, tip it over, and that will keep for a long time. If you can see those worms that makes on top and then dissipate, I like for those to be just about completely gone. And add your water slowly. And then stir that good. And you want to keep checking it. You'll want those to almost instantly disappear. Or that's the way I like mine anyway. It seems to spray a lot better. And when your sprayer starts to run out of paint, it don't start popcorning on you as bad either. I don't know if you can see that or not, but those are just about instantly gone, and it took very little water. Now the odor that paint gets, of course now we're talking about chalk paint here, the odor that paint gets, the more water it will take to mix that down. That's pretty good right there. And this is after 4 coats of chalk paint. Now that that's all done, I've got 4 coats actually. Once that goes together, I'll spray the outside of it, but I don't remember how many bottles of water that was, or how many this cup full of water that I sprayed through that. But it cleans up pretty easy, especially with chalk paint. Now, spraying regular paint, latex paint, it don't clean up as easy. But keep plenty of water on hand. I don't have running water in my shop, so I have to get it by the gallon. And I will clean it in that, which works just as well. Of course, now if you were spraying a latex paint, you would use some lacquer thinner or something. But you can see how clean that is. I mean, that's almost pretty well spotless. Just when you're spraying, get you a test piece, whether it be cardboard or something like that, and start spraying off the piece on one edge. And I'm going to use this and see if how hard that is, so you'll know. I have used it before, and it's kind of hard to work it in there, but can get it. It's just a little aggravating. You unscrew this, there's a spring behind this. Watch and don't let it shoot out across the room on you, which you don't really have to clean that. Nothing gets back there to that. But the pen, you will want to clean that off. And the chalk paint actually cleans up so well. It don't leave you a whole lot of work to have to do. And when I get done cleaning it, I will put it all back together and run one more bottle of water through it, or one more cup of water. Something you will have to watch though is these gaskets that are in it. There's one in this ring right here, a little gasket all the way around this that seals it, and also this gasket here. If you're spraying something like latex paint or even lacquer, and you thin it down with lacquer thinner, you will want to pull those gaskets out of there and clean those off good. Get that lacquer thinner off of it, because it will, especially the one that's in this ring right here, it will eat that up over time. Here that is. You can see down inside of it. That's pretty clean, even the lid of it. That gasket right there is what I was talking about a minute ago. If you put lacquer thinner in here, just straight lacquer thinner, you will need to remove that when you get done. Take a small pick or something and get it out, or it will eat it up. Also, the gasket that is in behind this, I don't know if you can see that little white gasket that is right around the edge, inside lip of that. I don't know how well that's showing up on camera, but there's a little gasket in there, and lacquer thinner on that one most definitely will eat it up. Will eat it up pretty fast. So if you're going to run straight lacquer thinner through it, clean those as soon as you get done. Don't leave any in there to be built up in behind the gasket and sit there and just eat your gaskets up. This one up here will take a little bit more abuse from the lacquer thinner than what this one will, in my experience. But this one right here will not last long at all. Well, that will do it for this one. I hope something in that has helped you. I got a trash can, probably weighs a ton now. I normally, after I get done, when I empty the gun out, I will just spray it in the trash can and let it blow everything out of it. And then I'll set that trash can outside overnight until everything kind of sets up and off gases and clears up. But I hope you found something in that beneficial. If so, all the better. If not, leave me a comment. there's stuff that I can learn. I'm not by no means an expert sprayer or anything, expert on spraying. That's chalk paint. Chalk paint does very, very well. I have sprayed latex. That gun is any gun is harder to clean up after latex than it is after chalk paint. Lacquers and things of that nature, they actually clean up fairly well. Clean up pretty, don't leave it in there and just let it sit. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. If you like the content, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Till next time, thanks for watching.